I opened the farm 9 years ago now. I guess it all goes back from when I was a kid, really. Always been passionate about agriculture. Fun fact, actually, my first word, it wasn't mom or dad, it was tractor. I'm not joking. So my first word was tractor. And I always been passionate when I was going around with my family in the countryside. How they do that? How do they do that? I was so interested in agriculture in general. And when I grew up, I got more close to sustainability. And obviously, given that I was passionate in agriculture, sustainable agriculture, I had I've been lucky enough that my parents also were really much into wine. I wasn't really much drinking wine until my early 20s, so when I was around 19. So I started discovering wine with them when I got more into wine myself. I've been also lucky enough because they were friends with a lot of natural winemakers, so the original ones, some Prosecco winemaker. My dad was really good friend with a lot of nice Barolo winemaker, a lot of natural winemaker from Tuscany. So I guess I got access to a network of winemaking myself that could answer to any of my my interested and what I was like my urge to need my urge to answer my questions. And one day I said, I think this is what I have to do. So I start planning. I trying to find a place. In the meantime, I really fell in love with Barbera, the Barbera grape variety, obviously from Piemonte. Barbera, in particular, the Barbera that's grown in Nizza Monferrato area. That differs from Barbera is commonly grew in all throughout Piemonte, but the one from Nizza has a specific characteristic of acidity and minerality. And I just while I was drinking it, I just never got tired of it. So I think I made like 2+2, and I say, okay, this is what I want to do. I felt it might sound a bit presumptuous, but I felt the vocation for it. So I was going around the area trying to find a place. I'm originally from the east side of northeast side of Italy, from the Veneto area, but I wanted to work with Barbera, so I had to move there. I found this place, and as soon as I got there, it was kind of abandoned, but I felt that through my guts that was gonna be the place. So I moved there. I went to the bank first to ask for the money for it. That's a big thing. As soon as I was able to move there, I restore all the vineyards were present there, and they were quite old already, but they were all abandoned and overgrown. So I restored them for production, and we start building the cellar. And that was 9 years ago, and from there it's been just a very nice bubble of experiences. And the time, I guess, like very, very much flew by since I started, given all also the difficulties. I managed to build what I wanted. And I am someone that is very much I was obsessed with how the works in the vineyard are conducted. We have 7.5 hectares, and there's just the two of us who manage the vineyard and the cellar. Now we have also my partner also joined to help us. So yeah, we are 3 now, but we've always been the two of us. And like I said, I try to focus all of my efforts in the vineyard management. So I try to apply and corroborate our farming side with a lot of regenerative agriculture. And I take inspiration from other winemakers. One amongst all, it was the unfortunately listened and passed away, was Lorenzo Corino from Costiglione, which is close by, and all his aspects of translating what was natural farming from, I don't know if you ever heard of Fukuoka, who was a Japanese natural farming guru, let's just call it. Obviously, he was doing completely different other type of agriculture, but trying to take some of their ideas and translating it into viticulture. So it's important, making a few examples to differentiate what we grow. So not just vines, obviously, because you can just when you have a vineyard, it can stay there also for 100 years. So you can imagine in that plot of land, it's important not just to have vines, but planting within the vines other plants that are going to help to differentiate the soil and the ecosystem in general. That's my main goal, but this means that actually by consequence, what I do in the cellar has to reflect all of the work that we do in the vineyard. So obviously, we are definitely quality driven, but what we get when we get in the cellar, for not to lose all the works we've done in the vineyard, we exclusively work with obviously spontaneous fermentation, and I do some technical fermentation, let's call it technical, but I am obsessed with the oxygen ratio when we ferment, so I do use a lot of CO2 and maybe dry ice to contain the oxygen at the beginning, but then when I need oxygen, I start doing a lot of pumping over or crashing down. But that is only mechanical intervention, so like physical intervention. We don't use any aid of chemical reaction during the fermentation and the conservation. And these are the main facts, yeah. And when I think about if I make natural wine or not, I think that has to come obviously from the vineyard, first of all, and the respect, from the soil. It has to not just apply to what you do as a product, as a wine, but it has to impact all the aspects of your life. Regarding my cuvées and the winemaking style that I adopt, we are Nizza Monferrato. That's the land of Barbera. It's the most iconic grape variety. I started working with Barbera in a more traditional way, so destemming, or partially destemming, crushing the grape and fermenting them. We use wood, tiny troncoconici wood vertical tanks. We macerate them for a couple of months, and then we do wood aging. And that's the style I always prefer for Barbera, because it extracts a decent amount of components from the grapes. It helps to maintain the acidity all throughout the aging process, also because it's quite a full body wine. It can get high on alcohol, but important that the acidity stays. Even though in recent years I am starting to adopt, because of climate change and because natural winemakers don't have many weapons to contrast that, one thing that I found really useful is the carbonic maceration. So also for traditional winemaking style as the Barbera, which are, let's call it serious wine. For me, it's not serious because I could drink it with a pizza anytime. But I find that carbonic maceration in the cellar is a way to contrast the fruit that a climate change vintage could have given you. Like, for example, when it's being very dry and very hot, you get fruit that is dehydrated and very much concentrated. I'm not saying that carbonic maceration takes away the alcohol, but it buffers the imbalance of the product. It could end up being a product that is very alcoholic, or the perception of alcohol is quite high. And so I started using carbonic maceration to buffer that. We do also work with Moscato and Cortese for the white grape varieties. And I started using a lot of skin contact maceration for the Cortese, but then a couple of years back I stopped because I think it was taking away a lot of the characteristic of the Cortese. So now I do use a little of carbonic maceration for the Cortese, but I don't use a vigorous extraction for that grape. So I'm more for the pure white wine style for the Cortese. For the Moscato, I do use skin contact maceration, just a couple of days, and all of the wines they're fermented in the wood fermenters. For the Cortese, I use acacia wood, and because it's quite porous, so that there's more oxygen exchange, and I use that because it contains a bit the aromaticity. And this is my personal style. Aromatic wines can be a bit too much sometimes, and they're hard to drink. It's like you pour the glass of you pour the first glass, and it's like, oh my god, it's like a party. You want to jump in the glass, but then you don't drink more than one glass. So I like to contain. I want to keep the aromaticity profile to stick to the characteristic of the Moscato, but also containing a bit in order to create like a white wine that can be drunk with any or matched with any dish, and not just as a post dinner or aperitif wine.